Welcome back to Repeat Digital's podcast, The Marketing Download. Today's guest is the very own Olly Fisher, our Managing Director. And we're going to be talking about the trials and tribulations of starting a digital marketing agency. It's been a journey, right? It's 4 years in.
Yes, it's been one hell of a journey, a fun one, a scary one, just everything under the sun one. So, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because I've known you since university, since Athletic Society and running around and nights out. And I can see that you've come a long way and I have too. But you studied law at university, which is totally different to where you are now. So it's a pretty unconventional start to digital marketing, I'd say. So what drove you to study law? How did you find your university experience and more importantly, your degree?
Oh, that's a long story, but let's give it a go. So I studied law because I didn't know I was going to go to uni until like a week before the deadline for submission. But my A-level tutor, well, sixth form tutor, said that you probably should go to uni just for the experience. So I decided to go, and then I thought, what's a cool degree? And law sounds cool. Because I think I watched like one of those Suits episodes, and that seemed pretty cool. So then I went there, and I didn't really care.
So you didn't study law at college?
No.
Right, okay. And Suits is what made you decide law was the right approach. Okay, well, that's very different. And you didn't enjoy it at all? Was there any part of that degree that was interesting?
I don't know. I don't want to reveal that I was a bad student, but I didn't go to many seminars.
Okay, so you're a bit of a lazy student then. Okay. So did you know pretty early on though, and once you discovered that law wasn't for you, did you know pretty early on at that point, or whilst you're at university, that digital marketing is something you'd like to go into?
Oh God, no.
You just fell into it, I suppose.
I did. I got lucky. I actually went and worked at M&S after uni, just in a store, a new opening store. So we stocked all the shelves and all of that kind of stuff. It's pretty boring, to be fair. But then, I got a job back down in Cambridge with an agency called Genie Goals, and that was my start in digital marketing and PPC specifically. And it just was awesome, really.
Were you applying for any other professions outside of digital marketing? Was it kind of just cast a wide net and then ended up landing in digital marketing? Or were you very focused on saying, do you know what, I want to be in digital marketing?
It was not focused at all.
No.
It was, I think I applied for lots of recruitment jobs, which I would be so terrible at because I hate talking to people. Why am I on this podcast?
Yeah. Well, you're just talking to me and everyone else is listening. So, okay, I mean, were there any mentors that you found, talking back to Genie Ventures, I suppose, can you pick out a mentor from that maybe you looked up to and thought, do you know what, I aspire to be like them and maybe start an agency, or did that come later?
At Genie, it was just so great. Like, there wasn't a particular mentor. It was just the culture was so amazing. So everyone was amazing. So they could all have been mentors. And I really enjoyed working there. Like, it was sad to actually stop. But I got the opportunity to go to Lincoln and start up a business with a friend. So I took that with the experience I got from Genie. So
bit of a risk, starting a business with a friend?
Oh, God, yeah, it was. Well, as you can see, like, I'm no longer in that business. But we're still friends. It wasn't a bad fallout. It was just different directions. Decided to leave and then get employed again. And then I realised I didn't want to be employed again. So that didn't last very long.
Is that other agency still going?
What, the one I got employed at?
No, the one, the agency that you had with your friend.
It's in a different form. It sort of like merged into another company, which is like the reason why I didn't have to leave, but I didn't really want to be part of that, and I would have been diluted, I guess. So yeah, I took employment as a safe bet, and then that was just boring. I just didn't really. I guess I didn't put the effort in. I probably shouldn't be saying this because they're probably going to listen to this podcast. Well, they might do. I don't know. I don't know how interested they'll be in this, but we'll see. But yeah, I did learn stuff there as well, and everyone was great. So yeah, I just think I knew in the first week or two that I didn't want to be employed, and I wanted to try and launch an agency by myself. And luckily, it's obviously gone well, as you can see.
Well, I suppose when you're launching a new business and you're launching it by yourself, you've got to have certain qualities about you. What sort of qualities did you recognise in yourself, or were you looking to develop to help you launch that new business?
I am quite lucky, to be fair, because obviously in the Lincoln business, I launched that with help from my friend. I guess I'll give him a shout out. It's Pete Watson from Distract. Yeah, he's a great guy. Went to New Year's with him this year in a masquerade party. It's quite fun.
You've spoken about maybe not being as comfortable talking to people in the past, but it's something that's obviously very essential when you're a one-man band and you're looking to try and find business. So you did a lot of networking in the early days, right?
I did. So, and I think the reason why it worked for me is because I tried to be different to everyone else. And by that I mean I would say weird, but then when you're weird, people remember you. So I think that's a good thing. And then I'll give you an example. And it's one of the first clients we had was a client that sells pants, sloggy pants. They're called just sloggy. And I used to stand up for my 60 seconds and go, "We're a great digital marketing agency and we sell lots of pants." And everyone used to think it was funny. And I thought it was funny, but it's probably not that funny looking back at it. But people seem to remember that. And then other people stood up and they just talked this really dry sort of 60 seconds. And I don't think people remembered that.
Yeah, you were the pants guy.
Yeah, the pants guy. There was another one that got a bit too rude. I probably shouldn't say on a podcast.
How did you get sloggy? Were they your very first client?
Well, I think they were. We got those from networking. I think it was a BNI event, which I did join, just for the first year. I think it only lasted 10 months, actually. I left before the end of the 12 months. It was just too rigid for me, but I can't knock it because it really helped me set up the business.
How did you choose Repeat? And were there any other names other than Repeat that you thought that you were going to go with?
Okay, so I'm very analytical and logical, and I thought it had to be a .com domain for SEO benefits, or .co.uk, and I wanted it to be quite short. And to be fair, a lot of domains are taken, so it had to be something that sounded pretty good, was short, and had a good .com or .co.uk. So Repeat Digital sounded cool, so that's why we went with that. But another one was it was a bit weird. It was Super Duper Digital, and I just
Super Duper
that
Digital.
was the other one. But I thought that was a bit too crazy. So
you got a lot of really weird agency names out there anyway, right? So I won't name any in particular, but the amount of agencies in the UK, it's just such a huge area. So as the owner of the business, you have to wear a lot of hats, particularly in the early days when the business was you. And then even when you brought on one person, you'd be responsible for any legal side of the business, the accounting, client work, and all sorts. I mean, diversifying your skill set must have been challenging.
Yeah. I've learned a hell of a lot in the last 4 years. I felt quite comfortable, to be honest, doing everything at the start. I think my skill sets are pretty decent at all of the technical stuff. That's where I excel at. Just learning new things and Googling is such a big thing for me. I've just learned a lot from that, and YouTube.
Our greatest business partner, Google.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that they don't teach you have to do in schools, which they should because it's so important.
For sure.
Okay.
Did you feel you needed to change yourself in any particular way to suit the business, particularly as it grew?
Yes. So I'm pretty sound technically, but on a people level, I struggle. I struggle with people.
Yes.
And obviously growing.
No, you're great.
Oh, thank you. But obviously with growing, you have to bring on people really, unless you stay sort of like a one-man band, but then it's hard to grow. So that was probably my biggest challenge I've had, and I still have. But I've been told I've got better, so that's good. Well, a hell of a lot better apparently. But yeah, it's hard.
And the first role you hired for, I imagine, was your first PPC account manager.
No. Yes, sort of. It was actually an apprentice.
Okay.
I think someone sold me on like a networking event to get an apprentice, because then you can hire them for less money. But obviously you're giving them loads of benefits, like you're starting their career. So it's not all about like saving money.
Although it partly is when you're a small company and you've got small expenses. Unfortunately, money is a big part to play here. But you know, I'm sure they're doing well. And one of the things I found when I started and when I graduated is people wouldn't necessarily give you a chance, and they'd say, "Oh, you don't have any experience." Well, apprenticeships are a great gateway into a business and to find that experience. So, you know, at least you gave someone that opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's not always about money, is it? Well, I think with an apprenticeship, you do it, and then you get paid money later on in your career.
Yeah, and often the goal with apprenticeships anyway is for them to pass their apprenticeship and then become a fully fledged employee at a higher level. So as you've got bigger, you've had to delegate tasks, and have you felt that delegating is something that was challenging at first? I know there's a lot of ownership of a task to be completed.
Yes, so delegation, it seems like it would be easy because you're like getting rid of things you don't want to do, but it's not easy because when you first have to do it, like it's your baby and you've done everything, and then you're kind of protective over it. But you kind of have to delegate to grow, obviously, because you can't do it all yourself. I had this weird thing, well, I probably still have it, where you don't want to delegate crappy jobs because you just feel bad and you feel guilty. But if you're trying to drive a business forward, you probably shouldn't be doing crappy jobs yourself because you've probably got more important priorities.
Well, everyone, I'm sure, has experienced a certain degree of crappy jobs that they've done and do, and not every job is sunshine and rainbows anyway. So, yeah, definitely. Okay, so big question now. What is the biggest challenge you faced running Repeat Digital, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, bloody hell. I know what it is, but it's a tough one. So it's obviously COVID when it first all kicked off, because like the business world just went a bit mental. They all thought everything was going to collapse. So us being a marketing agency, everyone, like the first thing they cancelled was their marketing. And we at Repeat Digital were working on like monthly rolling contracts. So people just cancelled pretty much instantaneously. I think we lost like, I think it was like 70 or 60 or 70% of our revenue, sort of like overnight. And then obviously we had staff costs to pay and well, just general costs to pay. So that was scary, really scary. And it was horrible because obviously I have to make the decisions and the decisions would negatively affect other people, or so I thought at the time. So the way I overcome it was to make the decisions, to make the hard decisions, because if you do that, then you'll be more successful in a way, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll toughen yourself up,
So
which I have done. So I had to make people redundant, basically. So we were a team of 5, and I made 3 people redundant. It's not as bad as it sounds because they all got jobs pretty much straight away before the redundancy period even ended. Oh, so that was a massive relief. Yeah, I still stalk them on LinkedIn occasionally just to check they're doing good. It seems like they are, so that's great. I'm happy for them. And then yeah, I guess moving forward, like to protect ourselves from that, we've started implementing longer contracts. And the thing is, I don't want to jinx anything, but obviously, if we survive COVID, and to be fair, it was about a 4 month bounce back. So 4 months after like it all went south, like it came back, and then it grew even more so. So I think we just keep that in mind. We keep enough cash in the bank to protect ourselves from it happening again. Um, yeah, so I feel like we learnt a lot, and we're ready to face any like even bigger challenges. But I can't see anything bigger than that happening. But I don't want to jinx it.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. So you're 4 years in now. Change to something a little bit more positive. In the 4 years that you've had the agency, what are the 3 best things that have happened?
3 best things. What?
You don't have to say hiring me. That's number 4, I suppose.
God, I can't say that because then you get a massive ego.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
3 things that have been the best 3 things that you've experienced running Repeat Digital.
I'm probably going to miss things off here, but I'm just going to go off the top of my head. So one of them is moving into this office. It's way more expensive, which I was not obviously too happy about. But then when we moved in, like, oh, it's just so much better. I actually just want to come in now. And before I didn't, because it was just freezing cold. It was just run down. There was no real hot water. It just wasn't very pleasant. But now
we now have
like,
a dishwasher, so we don't need to wash with freezing cold water and boil a kettle and to heat everything up.
It's so easy.
That's not too bad, but it's so much better here. So number two.
God, this is controversial, but it is the lessons I learned from COVID. Just like, and going through the redundancies, like I learned so much doing that, and just, oh God, like I feel like I could face any challenge now after going through that. So I'm kind of happy it happened in a way, and I'm really happy that people didn't really suffer that much. Obviously, they probably suffered in the time of it, so did I. But like I learned so much, and yeah, I think like most business owners don't learn that much in like their whole career, but then I learned it pretty quickly. So
the best thing is one of the worst things because of what you learn. That's good. I like that. And then finally, number 3.
God's sake, I don't want to say it, but it probably is hiring you, and probably others as well.
And it's not just me. We have had some amazing hires at the moment. We've got Emily, our creative marketing manager, who's just over there and watching us intently. And she's been amazing because we didn't have someone who's dedicated to the creative side of the business and scaling us up. And she's got this different mindset and way of looking at things. And I think we've seen a huge improvement in the way that we market ourselves. We've rebranded. The rebrand's surely got to be one of the great things. Well, I know you were very attached to the old yellow and blue and the boxy logo, but we've evolved.
Yes, it is much better. Thank you, Emily. Thank you.
Okay, good. And if you were to do it all again, if you were to start from day one, what would you do differently?
It would get more help, get more like it can be external, it can be internal by like a leadership team, but probably external at the start because obviously you can't afford a leadership team. So things like getting like a sort of, they're called business coaches, but they're not. I don't really like that term. I just call them like business. I don't know what the term would be. Just consultant. That's the same thing as coach.
It's still a good thing.
Yeah,
we all need a coach. Some people read books. Some people get a mentor, and they're a mentor.
Yeah, a mentor. Yeah. So we've got one. He's called Ian. Yeah, Ian's been a great help. Just having someone external to sort of bounce ideas off. A lot of it's about like wanting to know if your thinking's correct well, not correct, but it's the right thing to do.
It's mindset, yeah.
Yeah, so that's really valuable. And I'll give a shout out to the Tab too. So they're called the Alternative Board. They're just like a board of businesses that business owners go on to just chat about business and get support. That was really helpful as well. So yeah, it's just to get more support. So there's a lot of weight on your shoulders. So you don't want that. You need to try and figure out ways to get it off.
Well, they say being a business owner and a sole business owner is a very lonely place.
Yeah, that is true. It's true. Obviously, you don't have any. There's benefits because you don't have any like bickering. We bicker sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, but it's fun. You know, I think we're very lucky that we've been friends since university, and I haven't faced any conflict that we've had and thought it was a problem. It was just a natural way of debating a situation.
Yeah.
So I think we're very lucky in that sense. So, you know, going into business with friends can be difficult, but I think we don't like to argue. We're not combative by nature, and we're both invested in the success of Repeat Digital. You know, there's no selfish motives necessarily. We want to try and improve everything and everyone. So I think that's one of the things I love, that we as a team have tried to be very, very focused on employee development and trying to make sure that each and every one is performing to the best that they can, and that they come away from Repeat Digital, if they do, you know, after a few years or whenever it would be. And hopefully they leave with fond memories and a lot of lessons learned. So just to wrap it up, state of the business, Repeat's doing a lot better than when we had that setback during COVID. It was slightly before my time. And so what are your targets for the business for the next 12 months?
So we've sat down as a leadership team. We've set some pretty lofty targets. So it's to double in revenue. And yeah, like it's a big target, but we think it's achievable based off past results. We do have to stretch ourselves, but with any good target, you've got to do that, or you just won't achieve much really. And then with sort of doubling revenue, it's also doubling team, and bringing on the right team, and trying to create that culture that's like people want to be a part of. Yeah, like I'm excited for the next 12 months. I'm nervous, but I'm excited, and I think it's good to be nervous in a way, because like if you're not out of your comfort zone, you're not really pushing yourself. So yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for being part of the Marketing Download. It's been great to hear your experience. I know there's a lot of people out there that will have either started their own agency and would be interested to hear on someone else's perspective, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are also thinking of starting their own, so it's useful to hear how it's been and the trials and tribulations. So thank you very much. For everyone listening, please subscribe, and if you're watching from YouTube, please send us a like, drop us a comment, let us know what you want to see next, if there's any particular topics you want us to cover. And we'll see you in episode 3. Thank you very much. Bye.